everyone! In this video, I'm going to be talking about what risky substances are and why it's important to teach your kids at a young age what they are and how to avoid them. So what are risky substances? These include cigarettes, also e-cigarettes like vapes, alcohol, and other drugs such as medications and marijuana. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on alcohol. So what is alcohol? I'm sure everybody knows what it is, but scientifically it's referred to as a depressant. The depressant drug classification refers to drugs that cause behavioral sedations of the body. And what that means is that it slows down the central nervous system. In moderate doses, depressants can cause a relaxed and sleepy feeling. They can also cause inhibited judgment and slowed motor function. Increased doses, so when you use it at a larger extent, drugs like depressants can cause more serious complications, and for alcohol, it can cause alcohol poisoning or long-term alcoholism. The effects of alcohol, it can affect people differently, but overall it usually affects a person's perceptual abilities, their abilities to make good decisions, and also their motor coordination. For kids, alcohol can be particularly dangerous because they're still growing and developing. So alcohol can negatively impact how their brains and their other body systems are developing. So a negative development can cause possible future health problems, which can totally be avoided if they avoid alcohol. There is a difference between alcohol use and alcohol abuse. For kids, they're both very harmful and very dangerous, but for adults, there's a very distinct difference in use and abuse. For alcohol use, this refers to low to moderate consumptions of alcohol, so the use of alcohol does not interfere with daily functioning. This can be an example of having a glass of wine on a Saturday night. They're not addicted to it, it's just something that they do once in a while, but does not affect their daily functioning. Whereas alcohol abuse refers to the use of alcohol in a way that's dangerous. It negatively impacts daily life and functioning. So this could be an example of an alcoholic. They need alcohol in order to do their daily life, but when they do, it can negatively impact their daily functioning, their social life, and also their possible work, so financial. The short-term and long-term effects, these vary for everyone, and there also is a more extensive list. I just picked out the ones that I thought were the most prominent and the most important to talk about. For short-term effects of alcohol, these include distorted vision, hearing, and coordination. It also affects altered perceptions and emotions. In addition, it has impaired judgment, which can lead to accidents and other risky behaviors, such as unsafe sex and other drug use. It also has a headache and hangover effect, possibly the next day. As for long-term effects of alcohol abuse, this includes alcoholism, which is the addiction to alcohol, also liver cancer because alcohol affects the liver, also potential vitamin deficiencies. It can cause damage to the heart and nervous system, also damage to the brain, which can cause memory loss. It also can lead to increased risk of other drug dependencies because in short-term effects, impaired judgment due to alcohol can cause individuals to start using other drugs. They may become addicted to those other drugs. Therefore, long-term effects are addictions and drug dependencies. Also, long-term effects, there's possible damage to other organs and organ body systems. How parents influence their children. As a parent, you are the one creating a safe and nurturing environment for your children. During adolescence and other important stages of child development, kids are looking up to their parents and are relying on those strong and open relationships. When parents build that strong, opening, and supportive environment, children are more likely to reciprocate those feelings. So when parents talk openly about the dangers of certain activities, kids in turn are then more likely to hear their parents, respect their parents' wishes and concerns, and therefore avoid those risky activities. Also, if parents create that strong, open communication environment, kids are more likely to have an honest conversation, an honest relationship with their parents, creating a more open-ended question environment so they can understand more about what alcohol is and how it can negatively impact all areas of their health. It's also better for parents to talk about this conversation before exposures occur. It's important to discuss alcohol and drug use and abuse with their kids at a young age and keep them talking about it as they grow up so they can understand and keep understanding the negative effects as it can affect them in the future. It might be a little awkward or uncomfortable talking about it at such a young age, but if you do talk about it at a young age, you're giving your children the knowledge and the education that can help them avoid those high-risk behaviors as they grow up. So if they're exposed to this knowledge as a young age, once they are exposed to it when they get a little bit older, they'll understand and have the knowledge to handle those situations in a proper way. For some percentages that I found, 10% of 12-year-olds reported having tried alcohol before, and then by 15 years old, that jumped to 50% of kids reported having tried alcohol. And of high school age students, nearly 70% of them reported having had alcohol before. So this just kind of goes to show that the earlier and sooner you have the discussion on alcohol with your children, the greater chance you have influencing their decisions and behaviors in the future. So this is a chart that I broke down about how you can have the conversation about alcohol with your kids. Obviously, there's more ways that you can go about doing it. I just thought I would break it down from what I've found. So for preschool age children, that's about 3 to 4 years of age, this is when they're beginning to make their own decisions. So as a parent, you can allow them to make their own decisions for small activities. So maybe you let them pick out what they wear to school, or you let them pick out their after-school snack. But in a way, you're also providing a healthy and supportive environment and demonstrations. So for their after-school snack, you can give them the option between an apple or an orange. So you're giving them two healthy options, but you're letting them make the decision. So this teaches them how they are allowed to make their own decisions in their life. For early elementary, so about 4 to 8 years of age, this is when you should begin discussing about how our bodies work and how harmful substances can negatively affect us. So you can introduce that there are good things that we could put into our bodies, but then there are also bad things like alcohol. And you could kind of introduce what alcohol is and how it can affect how we see, hear, and move. So it gives them more of a physical description and more of a concrete understanding of how it can affect our bodies. For late elementary years, so this is the ages between 8 and 12, this is a really critical stage of development. This is a good time to talk openly about the short-term and long-term effects of alcohol and how it can negatively affect us. This is also a critical time of peer pressure and possibly peer influence. So this is a good time you can influence the phrase, just say no. So if your kids are ever part of a situation that they're a little uncomfortable, or if somebody's telling them they should drink this or take this, this is when they learn to just say no. So they say no to those substances and they have the understanding and knowledge that there are bad things for us and we should just say no to them. For teenagers, this is about 12 to 18 years of age. At this time, kids should have the knowledge of what alcohol is and the negative effects it can have on us. And they should also have a clear understanding of your standpoint as their parent and your expectations that you have for them. And they should be able to make proper autonomous decisions. However, they are still supported and feel safe in the environment in which you created. And this is also a good stage of life to emphasize your love for them and your concern. So they might want to rebel and make their own decisions, but you should emphasize that you are giving them these rules because you love them and you're concerned for them, so that they understand that they have these rules because you care about them. So there's definitely more things you can do and talk about with your kids, but these were just some bullet points I thought would be helpful. The dangers of not having the alcohol discussion: if parents don't have the conversation about the dangers and negative effects alcohol can have on the body, then kids may not see any harm in the consumption of alcohol. They may have no idea that can impact our development and bodily functions, which can overall create major problems for the future. So by not having the discussion, parents would not be giving their kids the knowledge or strength to say no, and they could be negatively impacting their kids' future by not having a discussion on it. Some risk factors that may cause kids to engage in underage drinking. This can include transitional periods such as the onset of puberty, if they're starting a new school, if they're having to make friends. This also goes to do with peer pressure. So kids might feel like they need to fit in. So if a group of kids at school are drinking alcohol, they may feel like they need to do that too. Also, social media influences. This is a huge thing and a huge problem this day and age due to Instagram, Facebook, and other social media influencers. They might see those posts and feel like they need to engage in similar behaviors. Also, children who have poor self-esteem or lack of self-control. If a child doesn't really have the confidence of themselves, they might turn to alcohol because it might make them feel better about themselves, or it might give them the confidence to do something. So that's also a major risk factor. Also, children of disconnected families. Like I said before, having a really safe, supportive, and open communication environment is a great way to help your kid not engage in risk factors like this. But there are some families that might not have that. So families of disconnected families, their kids might be more at risk for engaging in dangerous activities like this. Alcohol is also used as a coping mechanism for early traumatic life experiences. So kids who might have experienced trauma early in life may use alcohol as a coping mechanism to feel relaxed or be able to fall asleep. There's also many, many more risk factors. I just chose to include a few major ones in this presentation. So as a parent, like I said before, there's many, many other things that you could do. I just listed a couple major points that I have found. So the first two kind of go hand in hand, and that's leading by example and being a good role model. Leading by example means maybe when your kids are young, you don't have alcohol in front of them, just so they don't see you drinking it and being like, oh, my mom does it, why can't I? So if you kind of avoid showing your kids alcohol at a young age and explaining that it is not probably the best thing, you can try to be a good role model in that way. You can also encourage open communication. Like I said before, an open communication provides a very safe and supportive relationship and environment for your kids, so you can have honest conversations with them. Also, educating yourself. I know a lot of you probably understand what alcohol is, but you might not know the specific negative effects it can have on the body. So if you educate yourself, you're therefore able to better educate your kids. Also, helping to build your child's self-esteem. Like I said before, kids with low or poor self-esteem might be at more risk for engaging in underage drinking. So if you help them feel confident, feel autonomous, and feel respected, you can help them avoid feeling the need to use alcohol. Also, just being part of your child's life. This kind of goes with encourage open communication. Just being there for your kid, being part of them, going to their games, being a very supportive and nurturing parent can really go a long way. Also, teaching healthy stress management skills. Alcohol is often used as a coping mechanism for stress and stress management. So if you teach your kids at a young age to maybe, if they're stressed, go for a walk or ask their friends to hang out instead of drinking alcohol or doing bad things, they'll learn how to healthily manage their stress. So basically, to sum up this whole thing, bottom line, the importance of a strong parent-child relationship really goes a long way in avoiding risky substances. Parents should be there and support their children. Research has shown that by having a strong and open relationship with their parents, children tend to delay the onset of underage drinking. Also, like I said, establishing an open and trusting relationship allows your kids to talk honestly with you, which can go a long way when it comes to risky substance use. And these are some more resources I found. Some I used for this presentation, but others I thought gave a great introduction of how to have the conversation about alcohol and other drugs with your kids. And also the last link is a YouTube video that kind of discusses what alcohol is and could be a great resource for kids. Thanks for watching.